Hi, and welcome to a new tutorial. So today I'm going to talk about creating your user profile. And what I mean by this is creating it on the back end for anybody who registers for your event to then go and create this profile. So whenever any user creates a profile or registers for an event for your event, whenever they register, depending on what type of event registration you choose for your event, they may have to create a profile. So in order to get to this section of the event creation process, you're actually going to go to onboarding. And then from there, you're going to select the event you want to access. And then you're going to click on create user profile there in the right-hand corner. So right here, and we've gone through and we've edited a lot of these, but right here is all of your optional fields that you can include. There's also, this is profiles. This would be like the individual's information. You can scroll up to your organization and you can view some of the data fields here. And then you can also go to products and services. And then this is like about the products and services you offer. And then your organization is about your company. You can also add custom sections. You can also add custom fields. And so like add new field here. You could do like, will you require and then you can choose like, this is just an example, like, will you require a vegetarian meal? And you could do like multiple choice, yes, no. You can also select like check boxes, choose from a list, time, date, whatever you would want to add. So there's a lot of options to add into custom fields as well. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is whenever you are creating your event for the first time, a lot of this information here is going to be all of it's going to be activated, and a lot of it's going to be selected as required. And we've discussed this in other tutorials in the past, but I wanted to create a specific one just to talk about this issue. Because whenever you're going through the registration process to create your event, you want to make sure that your registration process for your attendees is easy enough to where they'll register, because the fact of the matter is if you have a registration process that takes a half hour, nobody's going to want to go through that 30 minutes in order to successfully register for your event. So you want to make it quick and very streamlined and very easy to do, while at the same time you want to gather as much information about your registrant as possible. Like these fields are going to be good lead generation fields for you, getting information like Facebook URLs or website URLs, addresses, phone numbers, names. That's really valuable information to you and your organization. Whereas these organization and these products and services sections are really valuable, especially for matchmaking events, because we use these items. We use things like NAICS codes, keywords, descriptions, industry types in order to create successful matchmaking sessions. With that being said, it is not necessary to have all of these fields required or activated because of the fact that some of these things people may not have. Like, for example, this NAICS code. You can activate it, and I'd highly recommend activating it, but also make it optional because there may be people who don't have these codes. Also for like your organization, maybe you don't necessarily need the department. Maybe you don't need office program name. Maybe you don't need a Vimeo URL or a video URL or even a LinkedIn URL. I highly recommend that you go through these and you really think to yourself, which of these options, which of these fields do I need? And even have some like self-reflection for your event of saying, what is our end goal with this event? And you need to gather information in order to help you get to that end goal, in order to help you in order to help you put on the most effective event possible. But at the same time, you don't want for your event registration process to be bogged down, to be redundant. For example, like there's a phone number field here, but then there's also a cell phone number field here. And the default will be for both of these to be active and required. But that's redundant information because nowadays people don't often will only have one phone number. If they do have two phone numbers, they don't necessarily want to require to give both of those to you. Same with like home address for your attendee. Like you don't necessarily need the street address, and it could be an office address. It may not necessarily be home. But the fact of the matter is, some of this information is repetitive. It gets redundant. It can, especially if you require a lot of fields, it can stop an attendee in their tracks from registering. Because if you're requiring for somebody to have a Vimeo URL and an attendee simply doesn't have a Vimeo account, they're not going to go create an account for you. They're going to just stop registering and just exit the page, which then leaves you with one less attendee and one less person that's going to be paying for your event. So when going through this process, I highly, highly recommend to go through each of these individual fields and customize whether you want it to be required or optional. You can also select which attendee types you want it to apply to. So whenever it says apply to up here, you can see all of your attendee types. You can customize each field so that only specific type of attendees are required or optional to have these. So only certain people may have to fill out these fields. And then you can also activate and deactivate these as well. So I highly recommend you go through, you customize each individual field to figure out which ones you need, which ones you want, and which ones apply to different types of attendees. That should be a priority during the process of creating your event, because it can be the single-handing thing that stops people from registering and pulling the trigger on purchasing an event ticket for your event. So that is not only a tutorial, but also just a memo to let you know this process right here, and also do it for your organization as well as product and services. So do it for all three of these. So that is just a kind of PSA to let you know that this section here is very important. You need to go through and customize it. Do not leave it at the default settings that come during the registration process.